revenge, my dear. And it seems on a moment too soon.
Hello, my name's Dave. I'm one half of the Geeky Guys. You've probably seen us online. It's normally myself and Mr. P. My friend Mr. P isn't around right now to join the discussion, unfortunately. He's probably at work, working away, being busy, something boring like that. I just thought that I would come on really and just talk about the big news at the moment, and you probably guessed what I'm going to be talking about from the little intro we had there at the start. So basically, the Doctor is going to be regenerating at Christmas, and this time he's going to be regenerating into a form which resembles an Earth female. Now, this has obviously put the fans up in arms. Some of them really happy, some of them love it, some people see it as a massive reinvigoration for the show, which it well could be. The division that it's causing between the fans seems to be because the Doctor has been portrayed by a man for the last 50 odd years. But as we know from the recent episodes that we've had, certainly in Stephen Moffat's tenure, the Doctor's wife was mentioned, where there was a Time Lord who was originally a lady that turned into a man, that you knew very well. We've also had obviously Missy, the female master, so obviously the normal master had changed his appearance into a female Earth lady as well. And we've heard it in quite a lot of episodes recently in Moffat's era, and sort of the last 6 months or so, about the possibility of Time Lords changing gender. And obviously, gender with Time Lords, they don't particularly understand it, to be honest. They don't really see males and females. As far as them, they're just whatever they are, and that's it. They don't particularly see gender the same as us, so it's quite possible for the Doctor to look like a man, to look like a woman, or even potentially, as we've heard recently, to change species and look completely different into some other kind of alien form. So the form of the Doctor, I think it's like the show. It can go anywhere, it can be anything. If it needs to be changed to invigorate the show, they can do that. So there's absolutely no problem with that at all. There's a lot of silly statements going about saying the Doctor's a man, he should always be a man, you can't change it. Well, you can, and they have done, in fact. But I don't see this as being a major issue with the show. It may put off a few fans. There may be a few fans that turn off and say, if he's not a man, I'm not watching it. I've certainly spoken to a few ladies recently who've been of that opinion, have been that, oh, I like the Doctor being a man, I'm not quite sure about this change. I'm not sure whether I can get along with it. But most people seem to be willing to give it a try, and most people seem to be sticking with the show and just saying this is the way that Chris Chibnall and the BBC want to reinvigorate it, want to change it, want to appeal to more fans, and certainly it'll be a brilliant thing for I think children, or sort of it'll be more approachable as a show for children than sort of in recent years. It's perhaps dropped off a little bit. And certainly Peter Capaldi, I think, in some cases wasn't as popular with some of the younger fans, so with this new female looking Doctor, that might help. And certainly anything that makes the show better, anything that changes things up, brings Doctor Who back into the public consciousness, can't be a bad thing. So I think it's going to be a very interesting new era for Doctor Who. They've never tried this before. Apparently Sidney Newman did suggest this back in the 80s when Tom Baker finished, that they were going to potentially go into the opportunity of potentially looking at female actresses for the role, but apparently the BBC at the time were very stuffy about it and they didn't want to risk it. And certainly I would say, even at this point in time, even though it seems crazy and stupid to think that this would be such a big issue even now in 2017, it's still classed as quite a bold, quite a brave move, especially with the new showrunner taking over. With Chris Chibnall coming in, it would have been very easy just to have kept it as the standard format, the standard formula, just gone back to a male Doctor, female companion, going through time and space, lots of stuff on Earth. But it does sound as though he really wants to make it his own and really wants to change it up. And obviously with Jodie Whittaker working on Broadchurch, which a show which Chris Chibnall ran for quite a number of years, he knows her very well. He knows what she can do, he knows what she can't do, so he must know that she's going to be brilliant in this role, because there's no way that he would risk his first series on a gimmick or something that was just to, like people have said, to tick a PC box or tick a feminism box. I don't think the BBC are quite that stupid and are quite that blatant, to be honest. I think they're doing it because it's a chance to reinvigorate the show. It's a chance to push the show forward. It's a chance to appeal to more viewers, and I think it's certainly in maybe not in the short term. I think people may take a few episodes to get used to it, like they did with Peter Capaldi, like a lot of people did with Matt Smith. There was a lot of people that didn't like Matt Smith originally, and then they said 6-7 episodes in, he's really good, we like him. A lot of people thought David Tennant's a bit flashy, he's a bit young, he's a bit too movie-ish, but they weren't sure about him. But then he's a lot of people's favourite Doctor now, so it just shows you that people have resisted change in the past, but when they've stuck with it, when they've given them a chance, especially when the writing's been good, and that's one of the big things here, if the writing is spot on and the actor portraying the role portrays the Doctor in the right way, has the heart in the right place, and delivers the lines in the right way, it's generally damn successful. So I think this is an exciting change for Doctor Who, and I think moving forward it's going to be very interesting. A lot of people have expressed concern, saying, does this mean that it's just a female Doctor now forever? I don't think so. I think it's going to be whoever's right for the role at the time, moving with the time, moving with the changes in the show. They'll just pick the right person for the role, and that might be a male, that might be a female, that might be an alien. Who knows what may happen in the future of Doctor Who? It's forever changing, and like a lot of people have said, I think this is probably why it's lasted for 50 odd years, because it has changed, because they have made unpopular decisions throughout the time of Doctor Who. There have been things that people have turned their nose up at, there have been things that people have completely turned off and come back to it a few years later. It's completely the way it's been with Doctor Who all this time. So the only thing that I would say is that obviously it has been really sad and really annoying seeing the fans so divided over this, certainly throwing about hate, trolling, cyberbullying, attacking people for being sexist, attacking people for being misogynist, and some generally pretty nasty stuff out there, which has not been nice to see. I think some of it has been over the top reactions, and it's been right to put people down, because it's been bloody stupid, to be quite honest. And you're thinking, really? Are you saying those things in 2017? Don't you belong in the 20s? But generally speaking, people have been trying to have a logical argument about it across the board. And I think some people have got upset, saying, oh, you're not sure about it, so therefore you don't like a woman taking over in the role, you don't agree with it, you won't allow it. But I think there's a lot of really good conversation going on out there, and all I would probably say is that people should, reserve the judgment until obviously she's had her first few episodes, even 5 to 10 episodes, and then judge it from that. So I think people making sort of very quick statements and very quick assumptions now, and obviously the whole thing that's been going on out there about she won't be able to pop the TARDIS, will the TARDIS be pink, will the console be pink, will she have a sonic lipstick? That is kind of the whole thing that's wrong with the fandom. I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, they're just really silly statements. I mean, they're not going to do that unless it, well, they're not going to do that. I mean, they're not going to have a pink TARDIS, so that'd be changing it up too much, and that would really annoy a lot of people. I would imagine male and women, kids alike, they would just be, that's just a bit gimmicky and a bit stupid. So I don't think they'll do the gimmicky things like that anyway. I think people are stupid suggesting that. I think they'll pretty much do. I mean, you look at the way that they handled Missy, they could have got that spectacularly wrong. I mean, a female master at the beginning, even initially my reaction was like, really? Female master, will that work? And it was kind of like, why not? Yeah, why not? But will it really work after all those actors, all those males that have played the role? Will people accept her? And you know what? She was bloody good. She was brilliant. She was funny. She was scary. She was scary as hell. She scared the audience. She scared the Doctor. Right at the beginning, obviously she mellowed at the end, but right at the beginning she was bumping people off left, right and centre, coming up with dastardly plans, exactly like the Master's always been. So the gender did not affect the Master as much as people thought it was going to. Very, very little, hardly at all. A lot of people still don't like it, and they still say, oh, it's not the Master, it's a different character. Well, Stephen Moffat, Michelle Gomez have said that it is the Master. Brian Minchin, everybody else says, so I'm afraid it is. She was the Master, she is the Master, and she was brilliant. So I don't absolutely see any problem at all with Jodie Whittaker playing the Doctor. I don't think the gender is going to come into it at all. I think it's going to come down to just a few things. She's either going to be a good Doctor or a bad Doctor. The gender doesn't come into it, and it's going to be whether the writing's good. If the writing and the stories are good, generally everything comes together. and most actors will tell you these days that no matter how good an actor they are, it comes down to how good the writing is. And if the writing is spot on, it'll be a damn good few seasons of series, even of Doctor Who, that we've got upcoming. And yeah, obviously we've got Christmas to look forward to as well. We've got the first Doctor, played by David Bradley, was absolutely fantastic playing William Hartnell in An Adventure in Time and Space, so very much looking forward to that. And I know Mr. Piers as well. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to have the first Doctor and the 12th Doctor, and how they're going to interact with each other, and how the first Doctor is going to react to the Doctor that he is yet to become, and also how Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor is going to react to where it all began, the first Doctor, how his character has changed, how he's changed as a being, as a person, as a Time Lord over that time. I think that's going to be very interesting to see their reaction to one another and how they work together, because you can't help but think he's going to be, really, was I like that? Was I that grumpy? Was I that forthright? Did I make those statements? Did I say those sort of things? And also the other way, he's going to be saying, really, do I go forward, have my hair like that, have my coat like that? Does my TARDIS end up being that big and that bright and that busy, that bright and that flashy? You know, there's going to be all sorts of things that are going to be thrown back and forth. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting. So we've certainly got plenty more Peter Capaldi as the Doctor to look forward to. And obviously next year Chris Chibnall takes over, and it's going to be very interesting to see the direction that takes the show, the type of stories that he's going to write. I mean, we're hearing at the moment that there's a rumour he might be having long series arc stories rather than individual stories, which I'm not sure about. Apparently it worked really well in Broadchurch, which is very highly rated. I've still to watch it. I've only seen little bits. I really do need to go and watch that before Chris Chibnall officially takes over next year. Just get a feel of his writing and his style, and maybe go back and watch his Doctor Who stories that he's wrote. I know a lot of people didn't really like them, but I thought they were alright. I thought they were reasonably good. So I think it will be very interesting to see what happens next year. I'm very much looking forward to it. I know Mr. Piers as well, and I think next year Doctor Who, will go on as it always has. And I think if the stories and the writing are great, it'll be brilliant. And I think we've got a lot to look forward to. It's certainly going to influence a whole new generation of people in a different way as well, as well as the way it always has done, as well as the way it always has affected and influenced people. As Stephen Moffat said, it was Doctor Who that originally got him into wanting to write, into wanting to do writing and producing, directing, and it's affected a lot of people in that way. I know it has myself. Certainly a lot of creative people out there are creating the things they're creating because of Doctor Who, and that will go on. And if that carries on next year with a very strong lady in the role, very strong woman, and affects a lot of little girls and a lot of young women, a lot of older women, who knows, that'll be fantastic. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, nobody should be taking it away from them or putting that down, because that's brilliant. That's awesome, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's an exciting time for Doctor Who, and it's as Jodie Whittaker said, don't be afraid of change. Definitely don't be afraid of the agenda, but don't be afraid of change, because Doctor Who's changed lots over the years. We've had different doctors. There's been certain doctors that people have hated. There's been certain doctors that people have really loved and really got behind, and there's been ones that people like, they were alright. But a lot of the time, I think we've done really well in the past. I mean, I don't think there's a doctor I dislike. His stories I dislike because the writing's not brilliant, and I think it's certainly I always feel very sorry for Sylvester McCoy, because I think some of the writing in the late 80s with Sylvester McCoy was pretty poor. There's some brilliant stories in there as well. I'm not saying that it was all bad. There was some good stuff in there, but what I would say is certainly the writing is massive in Doctor Who, and Chris Chibnall's certainly going to have to get that side of it right before anything else. But I'm sure he will do. He's a very highly respected writer. The stuff he's done has been very good. The bits I've seen, as I say, I've still got to watch Broadchurch and check that out, which I will do. But yeah, it's a very exciting time on Doctor Who coming up, and I think we should all be very excited, and we should all stop this silly petty arguing between ourselves, because that's not helping anybody, and certainly attacking people, throwing blue language around, putting people down, saying they don't understand the show, saying that they don't understand, all the things that are going on to do with this, like they're talking about feminism and diversity. There's a lot of wrong statements going out about those type of things. I think we really do need to calm down about it, be very calm, concise, and let's all just be Doctor Who fans, like we've always been, and just enjoy the show, and just look forward to this exciting new time coming forward. And as Peter Davison said on Twitter the other day, it's absolutely fine to be unsure. That doesn't make you a bad person, that doesn't make you a sexist or anything like that. Of course you can be, because people throughout the history of Doctor Who have been, oh, that's the person that they've put in charge of the TARDIS, I'm not quite sure. It's absolutely fine, as long as you're not having a go at, because of the gender or whatever. But as long as you're just saying, oh, I'm not sure about that actor, but we'll give it a go, we'll see how it goes, we'll see what the stories are like, see how they play it. And I think that's exactly what we need to do. We just need to calm down. This is the way the show's going. It's an exciting future for the show, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in 2018. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting time for Doctor Who. I'm sure you're all looking forward to it. I know I am. I'm certainly looking forward to the Christmas special. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, to be honest. I think that's all I wanted to say on it. Obviously, if you've got any comments, obviously you can go to our Twitter, Geeky Guys, go to our website where there's lots of photos of us with Doctor Who people, Star Trek people, Red Dwarf people, and CW show people. It's geekyguys.co.uk. We're also on Instagram, we're also on Facebook, pretty much everywhere really. But yeah, obviously if you want to make any comments, obviously talk to us about it. We're happy to answer any questions, any suggestions. We are hoping to be doing some more podcasts moving forward, and as I say, next time Mr. P will be available and he'll be here to talk about this and many other subjects as well. So yeah, I think that's it from me. Hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time.